Hi Hylians! There are two videos explaining where some of the best location and routes to get lots of materials at once in the least amount of time. Even though this is the third video, the locations in this video are not definitely the worst locations to get lots of materials. Today we'll learn my favorite locations to farm mostly monster parts, but also a lot more materials. I'm Nico and I enjoy helping others in Zelda games, so if you're looking for some Zelda content or need help finding or doing things in Zelda games, I hope you consider subscribing or at least checking out the channel. One thing to keep in mind when farming is to use Speed Boost level 3. If you need to know the best this is, check the card in the corner or the link in the description. The first place we'll go to is the Gerudo Desert. The first place I usually go to is this shrine and I immediately throw a bomb to the right. Then I defeat the Molduga for its parts. I head north a little and you'll find lizalfos, some volt fruit and hydromelon. And speaking of volt fruit and hydromelons, if you want either of them specifically, you can target them on the sensor for their exact locations. I also have a video on each one specifically, so you can check those links in the description or the link for the object map that I use. Next, I usually target electric lizalfos for yellowtails or electric keys. But no matter where the sensor sends me, I usually wind bomb southeast towards the other Molduga. After the Molduga is defeated, there's a few lizalfos in this area. There's regular ones, fire breath ones, and electric ones. Next thing I usually do is walk towards the third Molduga at the Arbiter's grounds or the Southern Oasis. It really depends on where farming electric lizalfos takes me. Electric lizalfos spawn randomly in the Gerudo Desert, so you can keep farming them for as long as you like. During your time in the Gerudo Desert, you can come across some electric keys, of course volt fruit and hydromelons, but also some sparrows. What I do for the sparrows is I use the shield block reset for some bullet time and I shoot the group or some chikulu nuts. After I defeat all 4 Moldugas, I travel to the northern part of Gerudo, the Great Cliffs. Then I target warm Saflinas. There's also an enemy camp just south of the shrine with lizalfos. After that camp, I follow the targeted Saflinas west, then south towards the Gerudo town. There's a few lizalfos and some other Saflina here. I then travel to the shrine northwest and I farm for more Saflinas. You can also farm some mushrooms here too. I make my way south to farm more Saflinas and lizalfos. With lizalfos in the brain, I'll head to Eldin. I head to the DLC shrine, but the other shrine works too. I usually equip 2 stealth gear, 1 fireproof, and make sure I have lightning arrows. I head north towards the Gorko Lake and I defeat the Talus on the island. I grab its stones, jump north, grab more stones, then I equip the blizzard rod. I target Fire Breath Lizalfos for red tails and I follow my sensor. I usually find myself following along the west side of Death Mountain. Even with Fire Breath Lizalfos targeted, I grab butterflies and lizards if I see them. There are also some fire keys. The blizzard rod is used for the keys and the lizalfos. As I follow along the path, I collect lots of ores and eventually I'll make my way to another talus. Then a few more lizalfos. And also, the electric arrows are used for ostriches to get the rare raw whole birds. I use electric arrows because regular arrows will burn the ostriches because of the Death Mountain heat, creating roasted meat. But also, it gives me some time to reach the meat before it burns. When a sensor stops, I head to Goron City and then I head to the northern mine. There's 11 lizalfos in this area. Next, we have Ice Breath Lizalfos. I like to go to the Snowfield stable, and before getting them to 999, I would target big hardy truffles. There's 7 in this area and I would collect them all. In the whole plain field, there are many things that randomly appear, and I would collect them when I see them, or I target them with the sensor if I want them specifically. There is Ice Lizalfos for ice tails, ice keys, winterwing butterflies, cold darners, lots of meat from foxes, wolves, moose, rhinos, and of course the white pigeons have a chance to drop the rare raw whole birds. If there's a lot of animals in one place, I make sure I shoot some of them with electric arrows so I can grab them before they freeze. No matter what I'm targeting, I make sure I make my way to the skull cave in the center for some ice keys. As I continue farming lots of materials, I continue to make my way north to fight the 3 lynels for their monster parts. After all lynels are defeated, I can then head to Akala by the Skull Shrine. I jump down to the east, grab the big hardy truffle, defeat the hinox, then grab the big hardy radish. I then head towards the rock woods. There should be a total of 16 octoroks, and I definitely get them all because octorok eyeballs can be rare to collect. After all the octoroks, I head farther southeast and defeat the Lynel here. I don't need them anymore, but after this Lynel, you can collect some zap shrooms. There are more than 40 zap shrooms in this area and the rock woods. After this Lynel, I head north, and there's another Lynel, and I collect its parts. Now we can go Lynel hunting. There's a single Lynel behind the shrine at the Tabantha stable. There's also a rushroom and some ores along the way. Then we have two Lynels by the Osera Plains. I travel to the shrine, jump down the mountain, then I head north. There's also 3 Lynels on the northern part of the map. The way I collect these is to travel to the Typhlo ruins, then wind bomb west towards the first Lynel. I then travel towards the 2 Lynels. I can wind bomb, but I like to travel because there's a chance to get some darners, butterflies, sparrows for chickaloo nuts, and ostriches for the rare raw whole birds. There's 2 Lynels in the Gerudo Highlands, but I only go to one because it's easy to get to this Lynel, and you can also get some luminous stones by the shrine. The next place to farm things is by the Serene Stable. I travel to Solara Hill, collect the luminous stones around the shrine, then I head to the stable for some Endura shrooms. Next, there are a few places that have fleet lotus seeds, and I would collect them. Again, I don't need them anymore, but there's a few big hardy truffles in this area that I would get. But I always go to the Lynel in the center. Then the hinox in the north. Then I would go south for a group of big hardy truffles. Then farther south is another hinox. And if you need, you can go east for some razor shrooms. And while I'm in this area, I would like to mention that this is a good place to get some summerwing butterflies and warm darners. And if you're here when it's raining, you can get some thunderwing butterflies and electric darners. And the final Lynel I would go to is the Lynel in the Colosseum. I travel to the shrine south of the central tower, then I make my way to the Colosseum for the Lynel. Now I head back to that shrine, but then I head north for some moblins. There are 6 moblins along this path. After the 6th, I head to the Akala Tech Lab and I continue farming more moblins. There should be a total of 17 moblins in this area. I like to farm the moblins for their moblin guts. Now combining this video and my last 2, these are basically all the places that I like to go farm to get the most materials at once in the least amount of time. I know not many people want to try getting 999 materials, but I'm sure you want to know where everything is. So I hope this helps, or at least it was entertaining. So if you liked it, give it a thumbs up, and if you want more Zelda content, consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time!